Welcome back to Rocket Gyan, my fellow space tubers. Okay, so today we have another launch of you can say another satellite in the batch or in the constellations of the satellite set up by the Sirius XM company. And yeah, you know Sirius XM, right? Your favorite music and radio station provider. So yes, this is their launch. This is that launch only where of that company only where you listen to your favorite songs and all. So SpaceX will be launching this mission, and we will be seeing all of the things which we need to do, need to see basically. So how are you? Hi Jason. Hi HD Slim. Hi Joy. Hi Nighthawk. Uh, and hi Iron Clue Gaming, how are you? Hi Manikandan Sekar. So without any further ado, let's just get into it. I mean, we don't have things to many things to know about, but still we will see whatever we have to see, right? So first of all, yeah, Sirius XM which will be launched by SpaceX Falcon 9. Okay, now what is Sirius XM? If you don't know, I mean, if you are not based in US America, you won't be knowing this company, but this is the biggest music station, you can say. There, I think that is the case, right? The biggest music provider, music station, the online radio as well as satellite radio. And because of that satellite radio, they need this broadcasting capability. So they have planned around 8 satellites in the constellation to cover up all that United States, Canada, Costa Rica, and all those things where this operates, right? And they will be replacing the old fleet which they already had, because obviously they are providing services, and they had previous satellites too. So they will be replacing them. And talking about the satellites, they look like this. This is the satellite. This is how it looks like. Hi Southern Indiana. So this is how it looks like. And okay, so this is the Sxm-8 satellite. Okay, and if you remember, there was another launch also in 2020 named as Sxm-7. This is a tongue twister for me. Sxm-7, which was also launched by SpaceX Falcon 9, and it actually resulted into a failure. The problem was not with the vehicle. Actually, the launch and the orbital insertion were both nominal, and the booster was also recovered properly. There was no issue with that. However, just after when the satellite was released, when it was doing some orbital checks, it resulted in failure. So they lost around $225 million satellite just because of that. And we don't know what went wrong, whether it was the thing with the launch environment, whether it was not able to handle those loads. I don't think so that would be the case, but we never know, because the satellites are tested to handle those loads, the launch environment, basically the loads, the vibration, the frequencies, and whatnot. So yeah, those are the things. But the Sxm-7 actually resulted into a failure. That's what you want to know about right now. And talking about the Sxm-8 satellite, we haven't heard from the company back yet what was the problem, whether it was related to the satellite issue, or there was some problem with the Falcon 9 itself. We don't know, but I don't think so there was a problem with the Falcon 9, because the orbital insertion, everything was nominal, and we didn't see any delay in Falcon 9 launches. Because if there was any problem with Falcon 9, they would have delayed the Falcon 9 to test and further investigate the issue and solve that. So we didn't see that. So hopefully this was a satellite issue. And now this is the 6th satellite for their 8 satellite constellation. And yeah, so this will be that. And hopefully they must have solved the issue with the satellite. So He says, how do you know so much about rockets? That's my passion, Makal. I mean, uh, Mark Kell, if I'm not wrong pronounce. I'm a very bad pronouncer. So yeah, hi high school idiots. It's your birthday. Happy birthday to you, high school idiots. Okay. And was it ensured? Yes, these satellite launches and rocket launches are basically ensured. They would be getting the money back, but you know the insurance, how that company works, we don't get almost every money which we invested, because the making of these kind of satellites which go into GTO and have so much of capability, I mean, just see how does it look like. You will get to know from that only. When it just unfolds in the space, this is how it looks like when it unfolds in space, right? You can see how, just look, from looking at it, you can see this is a complex satellite, and there are the years of hard work which that goes into it, and you can't ensure that, obviously. And the development cost and all those, I mean, they said this is a $225 million satellite, but I don't think so they will be getting around 225. You know how insurance company works, they always give less what it is really worth of. So yeah, now talking about this satellite is built by Maxar Technologies. I mean, you should be knowing about Maxar Technologies. They are very renowned in satellite business. They have helped NASA for their Mars missions also, and yeah, they are building this satellite which will be lightweight, high strength structure, fuel efficient attitude, and station keeping subsystems are there, which means a good ADCS, the attitude determined control system, uh, and then the reliable high efficiency solar arrays and batteries, which we can see the solar arrays looks phenomenal. Advanced command and control subsystems, all of that allows it to operate in the S band and deliver the best for its customer. Okay, so yes, that is pretty much about it, about the Sirius Sxm-8 satellite. Back to back Falcon 9 launches. Yes, that is the case whenever we have launches like this. I mean, the Falcon 9 is the only one which launches so frequently. It has already launched around 18 missions till date, and it's just June right now, almost like half of the total year is gone, and they have already launched 18 satellites. I mean, I can think about ISRO. They are the maximum capability is I mean, to launch around 14 to 18 missions at max, and they have already completed 18 missions on this Falcon 9. So yeah, that is the case. So let's have a look at look about the mission itself. Okay, so let's have a look at it. And yes, this is a Sirius XM satellite launch. The flight profile looks pretty nominal, or you can say the normal one. um, the launch will be their ascent, the MECO stage separation, then the flip maneuver facing retrograde, entry burn, grid fins deploy, aerodynamic guidance, vertical landing on autonomous drone ship. And talking about the drone ship, it is just read the instructions drone ship. This is the is it just read the instruction? Just a sec. Yeah, just read the instruction. Talking about the drone ship, just read the instruction is like the older guy in the fleet. And yes, it is not very much upgraded as such as of course I still love you and all those things, but still it works, so why not deploy it whenever you want to have these back-to-back launches, obviously, because we know that the first one has not returned yet, if I'm not wrong. So we will have to have something related to that. Talking about the countdown timeline, we can see that the seco happens at 26 minutes and 31 minutes. The Sirius satellite deploys, and this satellite actually is going to the what do you say, the GTO, which is a geosynchronous transfer orbit. And this transfer orbit, as the name suggests, it's a transfer orbit which actually enables the satellite to go from low earth orbit to geosynchronous orbit. Okay, so it's like apogee will be around 20,000 kilometers. And yeah, so talking about some characteristics of this rocket itself, this will be the third flight of the booster, and this booster actually has supported the mission for Crew 1 and Crew 2. So this is a, you know, the new booster in the house, kind of new, you can say, not have aged enough, right? And it has supported some human rated missions. So yes, this should be a very reliable and very tested, you can say, booster. That would be it. I think third flight of B1061. We don't know whether what about the fairings, whether they are new or what. We don't have the info yet, but 44-day turnaround for B1061. I mean, they are literally turning around for like 1 month. In just 1 month, we have seen the quickest turnaround of 15 days also. SpaceX is killing it when it comes to reusability. And you know, Elon Musk says that with Starship, when it's fully operational, he aims for around 3 launches a week. And 3 launches a week, which you means that sorry, 3 launches a day, not week, 3 launches a day. Literally, man, there will be 3 starships going to the space in just 1 day, and that would happen. I mean, and they are building their own launch site for that. They won't have to rely on you know, this the launch pad 39A or LC42, you know, be ready and be ready to support it and be vacated so that it can launch it. No, they are building their own launch site, which means that they can literally launch three of them on the same day. Wow, I am just thinking about how will they live stream it. I mean, they can't live stream it like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? 3 launches a day. I mean, wow. Okay. Watching from North Carolina, should see it in the sky tonight. Hopefully you should be able to see it. Hit the thumbs up. Okay, Scout. Depends if you have your Neuralink hooked up. Where is it launching from? Launching from Space Complex 40, if I'm not wrong. Okay. I live 40 minutes from there. Okay, cool. I mean, you can go, if you can go to the beach. You will enjoy a very good show out there. If there is a beach, I don't know. But yeah, we have the SpaceX stream. It should be where is it? Okay, fine. We are T-minus 15 minutes until the launch, and weather as of 4th June looks 60% go for the launch. I don't know what's the latest update, but yeah, that is the case. Hi Veena Somai, I live in the area scrubbed, Kevin says, but we have the stream, Kevin. Let's hope we have the launch. The weather condition didn't look very good as such, so that is the case. It will be launching from Cape Canaveral, Florida, from Space Launch Complex 40. And if there is a beach out there to visit and to watch the launch, I would highly suggest to go out there, because first of all, it's a rocket launch. You can't miss that, right? If you have that capability to go out there. I mean, if I would be the person, I would go to every other launch to, you know, just see it. Because the feelings, the vibration, and the view which you get, especially at the nighttime launches, are very phenomenal and very beautiful to look at, because you actually get an artificial sun in the sky. The light coming out of the rocket is so high that you know, it is literally like a artificial sun in the sky, talking about like the intensity. So yes. Yes, Corey, it's being launched on the east coast from Florida itself, so you should be able to see the launch from. They have this visitor area near the beach, right? So maybe you should be able to see it from there. I don't know basically whether this space launch complex 40 is visible from there. I know 39A is visible, but don't know about the 40, so you need to check that out. Okay. For a guy with the electric cars, he uses a lot of rocket fuel. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I mean, hopefully he also figures out how to go into the orbit just using electrical engines. That would be a game changing. Very clear in Florida, should be able to see anywhere, then it's okay. Then you can if you live nearby, you should be able to. But again, since that's since you know, just seeing the location about how far it is from the east coast itself, it's not like on the east coast of the Florida. If you live very close to the east coast, then you only will be able to see it properly. Otherwise, I don't think so. Just going to just a bit west also, you won't be able to see it. So 12 minutes until the launch, and no, Elon Musk is not a shady guy, Harvey. And there we go. SpaceX is back.
The STS is ready for launch.
Ignition. Liftoff.
Falcon 9 has cleared the tower.
10, 9, 8,
Side booster ignition.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening. You're looking at a live view of Falcon 9 as it awaits its 12:26 a.m. Eastern Time liftoff from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral on Sunday, June 6th. My name is Jessie Anderson. I'm a lead manufacturing engineer here at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California, where it's still Saturday evening. Welcome to our webcast for Sxm-8, our second launch for Sirius Sxm. Today also marks SpaceX's 18th launch of 2021, and we're only halfway through the year and already have launched more than we did in 2019.
Wow.
If you're wondering if today's customer to the music provider, your guess would be correct. The satellite being launched today will enable SiriusXM's ability to provide users with satellite-powered audio radio services for at least the next 15 years. We'll share a few more details about today's payload a bit later in the webcast. And as many of you likely know, across the world, June is LGBTQ+ Pride Month. Here in the United States, Pride Month commemorates the 1969 Stonewall riots, widely recognized as a catalyst for the gay rights movement globally, and recognizes the impact LGBTQ+ people have had in the world. Here at SpaceX, we have encouraged everyone to use this month and every month as a springboard to celebrate, learn, discuss, and reflect upon the ways the STEM, aerospace, and aviation fields have also benefited and advanced from the work of the LGBTQ+ community. And we encourage you to do the same. Before we take a closer look at the rocket on your screen, here's a quick breakdown of today's mission profile. Once Falcon 9 lifts off the ground in about 10 minutes from now, our first and second stages will separate at about 2.5 minutes into flight. The first stage will return back to Earth, and we will be attempting to recover it on our drone ship, Just Read the Instructions, for a third time. While that's happening, our second stage will continue on its journey. In order to get the satellite to its intended orbit, we will be igniting our Merlin vacuum engine twice today. Finally, the deployment of the Sirius XM satellite will occur at around T+31 minutes. On your screen is a live view of Falcon 9, our two-stage bipropellant vehicle. The Falcon 9 vehicle is about 70 meters or 229 feet tall, just slightly taller than the wingspan of a 747 aircraft. The bottom 2/3 of the vehicle is the first stage, which accelerates the vehicle along with the payload through the Earth's atmosphere out to space with the help of 9 Merlin engines. The first stage is also the part of the vehicle that we land back on Earth to be reflown over and over again. And like many of our missions this year, today's first stage is flying again. This is the 3rd flight for this specific booster. Prior to today's mission, it supported 2 NASA Crew missions, Crew 1 in November of last year and Crew 2 in April of this year. Today, we will be attempting to recover the first stage on our drone ship. Just read the instructions, stationed out in the Atlantic Ocean. You can see a live view from Just Read the Instructions on your screen.
Exactly. So, looking
At the top
good.
of the vehicle,
from the-
on top of the first stage is the black carbon fiber inner stage, and right above that is the Falcon 9 second stage, which has a single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine. Now, once the first and second stages separate at about 2.5 minutes into the mission, the MVAC engine will ignite and carry the Sxm-8 satellite into an elliptical orbit around Earth. Now, at the very top of the rocket is a composite structure, which we call the payload fairing. And that's what you see right there on your screen. Today's fairing will protect the Sxm-8 satellite from aerothermal heating, aerodynamic loads, and contamination
What
during
about
ascent.
the
Once we
fairing
reach the vacuum
use?
of space, we no longer need this protection, so we will jettison the fairing as the second stage to orbit. Today, the fairing halves protecting the Sxm-8 satellite are taking flight for the first time,
Oh.
and we'll be recovering them with our recovery vessels, Go Searcher and Go Navigator.
Fine.
Falcon 9 has been loading propellants since T-minus 35 minutes, and we use a rocket-grade kerosene, or RP1, which stands for Rocket Propellant 1, as our fuel, and super-chilled liquid oxygen, or LOX, as our oxidizer to power Falcon 9. Currently, RP1 and LOX are nearly fully loaded on both stages, and LOX will continue to be topped off right until the final minutes of the countdown. If for some reason we do not launch today, we have a backup launch opportunity available tomorrow at the same time. As of now, we're still in good standing for an on-time liftoff. The latest weather forecast is 70% favorable, and weather conditions
Okay.
look good for the booster recovery as well. Now, with that, the vehicle, satellite, weather, and range are all good to go for Falcon 9's 12:26 a.m. liftoff from Space Launch Complex 40.
Okay, so thank you so much, Slinky, for that too. He says love rockets and SpaceX,
If
man.
you're just
Yeah.
tuning in, as we mentioned earlier, for today's mission, we're launching a high-powered digital audio radio satellite for Sirius Sxm known as Sxm-8. We previously launched the Sxm-7 satellite for Sirius Sxm last December. To learn more specific details about today's satellite, let's check out this video from the satellite's manufacturer, Maxar.
And yes, this is that company only which is famous for your radios business, right?
Stage 1 fuel load is complete.
This is a S-band radar which is just so. There's that little engine for station keeping, obviously, right? Looking good. Okay,
We are currently
yes, all
T-minus
Starlink
5.5
launches
minutes from
are done
liftoff,
right
and
now.
Falcon
We
9 is now
don't
moving
have
into the final stages of
any
the countdown.
Starlink launches
Now,
as
we're
of
currently
now.
waiting for the transporter erector, the TE, to retract. That'll happen in about a minute from now, or just under a minute from now. The TE is the white painted structure that's positioned right next to the vehicle. On your screen, it's to the left of Falcon 9. As we prepare to transition into the final stages of the countdown, the TE clamps will open, and then the transporter erector will begin to retract away from the rocket slightly. And as the Falcon 9 lifts off at T0, hydraulics will pull the TE farther away, and that clears the way for Falcon 9's liftoff. Sounds like we got a call out to start opening up those clamps.
Yes,
Now, the
and
TE provides liquids, gases, electrical connections to the second stage, as well as air conditioning to the payload fairing.
that is necessary because you know, the satellite itself releases heat, and if there
Strong
is
back
no
retract sequence has started.
if there is no as such air conditioning in the satellite fairing, then there would be a rise in the temperature
and there you
inside.
can see on your screen those clamps that
Those
I
are
mentioned
not
earlier
ventilated.
are opening up. Once those are fully open, then the TE can start to retract.
Okay, so it's looking like we are heading towards a launch, although the weather is around 70% favorable. Then also we are looking good for the launch. It's not a human mission, so the conditions could be a little bit
And it
you
looks
know,
very, very slight, but that transporter rector is now
lighter.
starting to recline just slightly there, as I mentioned.
Fine, yeah, it won't be scrubbed, hopefully, Nicholas. Hopefully it should not be scrubbed.
And that looks
Weather
like
is
it
still
completes
70%
the
go.
strong back retract. Now, at this time, the first and second stages are both nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. And as the super chilled liquid oxygen, which is our propellant oxidizer, turns into gas as it meets the warmer, humid ambient air during loading, it forms those white clouds that you see around Falcon 9.
Falcon 9 does so much venting, right?
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
And there's that
Venting is
call out that LOX load is complete on the first stage. Now, for your awareness, second stage will complete LOX loading at T-minus 2 minutes. And at T-minus 60 seconds, Falcon 9 will be in startup. And what that means is the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers will have taken over the launch countdown. Just inside T-minus 2 seconds, we will light the Merlin M1D engines to get set for liftoff. With a few minutes left in the countdown, the Sxm-8 payload continues to be healthy, and the Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. The surrounding ground, water, and airspace received its green for launch from the range. So with about 2 minutes left, getting into the final stages of the countdown.
That looks so
LOX loading
good.
should be complete here in a few seconds.
And yes, talking about the venting, guys, the venting is you know, extreme on this Falcon 9 because they keep the liquid oxygen at very high pressure as well as at very low temperature as compared to other rockets. So because
Stage
of
2
that,
LOX load is complete.
the oxygen actually wants to
there's that
go out
call-out.
more.
Now, both first and second stage fully loaded with LOX. So now that LOX loading is complete, we will clear out the LOX line on the transporter rector, and you can kind of see some of that venting happening. As I mentioned, those white clouds from the LOX hitting the warmer ambient air and turning into gas.
Let's hope you can watch this launch. We are T-minus 1 minute until the launch. Go out, guys, right now. Just go out because that must be launching right now,
The
maybe
next event
because
coming
of
up
the delay
is
in the
Falcon
stream.
9, going into startup just around T-minus 1 minute.
We are heading in for the launch. We can see the startup is going on, and we
Flight
should be
computers in startup.
seeing the
And
here the
there's that
launch
call out.
director.
Next call out will be from the launch director.
Hopefully this launches tonight.
Falcon 9, Sirius Sxm-8, LD is go for launch.
And there we have it.
And awesome call out. Sounds like we are go for an on-time liftoff today.
T-minus 30 seconds, guys.
T-minus
It's
30
happening.
seconds.
And with all systems go for launch, let's listen in to the terminal count and watch as Falcon 9 takes the Sxm-8 satellite into orbit.
T-minus 20 seconds. Okay, T-minus 15,
T-minus 15 seconds.
14, 13, 12, 11.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Ignition
and liftoff.
and liftoff. Whoa. Now this is a shot that I want to capture.
Stage 1 chamber pressures are nominal.
Aha. we weren't able to see the surroundings because
Vehicle's
of the
pitching downrange.
exposure. You know, otherwise we can see those marked diamonds and all those look so phenomenal right now. We can see the velocity increasing, the
Falcon 9
altitude
has
increasing.
successfully lifted off with the Sxm-8 satellite from Space Launch Complex 40. Now the next event coming up. Next event coming up here is Max Q, and that is maximum aerodynamic pressure. That's the largest structural load that the vehicle will see on ascent. So we do power down the engines just slightly in preparation. And then
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
after Max Q, we will
There you
throttle them
go.
back up.
The rocket sound is always, you know, very interesting to watch. It's a delight for my ears at least. And we have Max Q.
Vehicle has reached maximum aerodynamic pressure.
And there's that call
We
out that we
can
just passed
see
through Max
those
Q.
mark
So in
effects
about
too.
a couple of minutes, we will have 3 events happening within seconds of each other. That'll be main engine cutoff, or what we call MECO, stage separation, and SES-1, or second engine start 1. Now, main engine cutoff is where we shut down all 9 of those M1D engines on that first stage. And that slows the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation. Stage separation is where the first stage separates from the second stage. And the first stage will begin to make its way back home to Earth for landing. And stage 2 will continue on its journey with the third event, SES-1. Now that's where the MVAC engine on the second stage lights up and propels the second stage along with the Sxm-8 satellite to orbit. And we're just under about 20 seconds away from those 3 events. Again, that is MECO, stage separation, and SES-1.
A beautiful plume expansion out there, which you can see here, and we should be seeing a MECO coming up soon. This is the interstage camera. We can see that the trajectory is and should be cut off now.
MECO.
Stage separation.
Stage separation confirmed.
And ignition.
MVAC ignition.
With the green flash out there, the
you can see
igniter
all
running.
3 of those events, MECO and stage separation. On your left-hand screen is a view of first stage. On your right-hand screen, you could see that MVAC engine on the second stage, glowing bright red. You also got a little glimpse of the green T-TEB ignition for SES-1. Now we're coming up on fairing deploy here, just under 10 seconds away.
Vehicle's on a nominal trajectory.
We should be seeing the fairing deploy now.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And there you go.
And there we got a nice live visual of the fairing halves deploying from second stage. As a reminder, this was the first flight for both fairing halves, and we will be attempting to recover these new fairing halves with the help of our recovery vessels, Go Navigator.
Cool. And now the second stage is trying to circularize first, and then it should be able to transfer it for a geosynchronous transfer orbit. So we can see the
as second stage
altitude
head towards
and
its
speed
targeted
of first
orbit.
stage.
Stage 1 will execute 2 burns in order to make its way back to Earth. The first of those 2 burns is called the entry burn, and that's where we light up 3 of the 9 M1D engines. Now this helps to slow re-entering back into the upper parts of the Earth's atmosphere. And then after the entry burn will be the second and final burn, and that is the landing burn. Now this is a single engine burn that brings the vehicle speed down rapidly in order to touch down on our drone ship. Again, today we will be attempting to land on just read the instructions.
Okay, fine.
If you're just catching up with us, we had a successful launch of Falcon 9 from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station's 40 launch pad. And now you're looking at a live view of Falcon 9's Stage 2 as it delivers the Light 2 orbit. Stage 1 is currently cruising back to our drone ship, Just Read the Instructions, in the Atlantic Ocean.
I mean, we are not getting the first stage camera, onboard camera views. I don't know why, but let's see.
And as a reminder, today's mission is for Sirius Sxm, carrying the SXM-8 satellite to its targeted orbit.
Falcon 9 continues to follow a nominal trajectory.
And
That's,
SXM-8
good
is
to
the
hear.
12th satellite to be launched for SiriusXM service. It transmits 73 decibel watts at peak power, which is 20 million watts of power.
Wow.
Now, deploying the unfurlable reflector is like opening a large umbrella in space. And a very large umbrella, it's about 9 meters or 29 feet, which is taller than the average two-story house. Now, with the solar arrays deployed, the length of these satellites is about the same length as a 737 airplane.
Wow.
Now, we're coming up on entry burn on the first stage, just under 10 seconds away or so.
You heard the sonic blast aeroline. Yeah, that feeling to just feel and hear that blast is so awesome.
Stage 1 FTS has safed. Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And there you go. We have entry burn startup.
And there
We
you
can
heard the
see.
call out, and on your left-hand screen, you could see that the entry burn has begun on the first stage.
Wow, see the velocity, man. It's so
Seconds or so.
decreasing so rapidly.
And again, it helps to slow the vehicle down as it's entering back into the Earth's atmosphere.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
And again, there's that call out, and you can see on your left-hand screen that the
Whoa.
entry
See
burn
those
has
effects, man. This looks
on the
so
right-hand
cool.
screen. Stage 2 is still looking nominal.
Wow. This is so cool. Let's hope
And
we
we're
don't
just about a minute away from the landing burn on the
lose
first
the
stage.
feed.
And right before the landing burn will be second engine cutoff 1 or SECO 1. And that's where we shut down that MVAC engine that you're looking at on your screen there. A reminder, we do have 2 burns of this MVAC engine for today's mission. And that helps get
Second stage is in terminal guidance.
that helps get the SXM-8
Wow,
satellite to
This looks
its
so
final
cool.
orbit.
Stage 1
Okay.
transonic.
It is transonic. Passing the barrier, the sound barrier now. And we can see
Again, a
the...
couple events happening back to back here. SECO 1 coming up
Stage 2
here
flight
shortly,
termination system has safed.
followed by the landing burn.
Stage 1 landing burn startup.
Let's go back to the drone ship now and see what is
Looks like
happening
the
there.
landing burn has begun on first stage.
Eco
can
is
see-
there.
Loss of signal. Cape.
And
Sounds like we also got a good
Nominal
orbit on the
parking
second
orbit
stage.
insertion.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
whoa, whoa, whoa. And beautiful as always.
And we have touchdown of Falcon 9. Falcon 9 has
Stage
just
1 landing confirmed.
just landed on our drone ship. Just read the instructions. Today marks the 87th overall successful recovery of an orbital class rocket, as well as SpaceX's 125th successful mission to date. Now, while that was all happening, we did have a successful SECO 1, and a call out for good orbit. So now that second stage is going to coast in this orbit or so. So we'll see you back here at T plus 25 minutes for the second stage relight.
I mean, guys, just just to see that it actually is just a sec. Okay, so yes, I was saying that it's like literally landing a 10-story building on a drone ship, and seeing from the views of the drone ship, yes, the cameras were a little bit changed in the placing of the drone ship today. The cameras were zoomed up, and yeah, they were on the other side of the drone ship. So that was a cool thing to watch, I must say that. Can we see the I mean, this thing has become so common right now, the landing, that they nail it every time. Still, it does not mean that I don't want to see it, but still it gives us the pleasure that yes, it will be landed, not whatsoever what. So exactly, makes the world look so small. What about the fairing? Fairing will be the fairing will actually be recovered, so that is not a problem. They have this Go Navigator and Go Searcher for recovering the fairing. This is not like mystery and mischief that just catches the fairing into its nets. This won't be happening for these fairings, because they have upgraded their recovery system. What they do is they let the fairing to go in the water and then they fish out the fairing halves. So yeah, that is what happens. This is the second stage view which we can see here. Thanks Thomas for your appreciation. The landing is ASMR. Oh, you mean it. It is always one of those things which I want to see every time. And we can see that the speed and the altitude is bit okay, so it's changing. It was not changing before, so that could happen because of the those issues related with the communication, but it's okay. Just yes, they don't catch anyone. More they pick up from the water. Okay, so that's what we had about this launch. So now tell me, whether were you able to watch it from your area or not? Can you give me her phone number? Whose phone number do you want? Okay. Yes, Taike. And what's better, NASA or SpaceX? I don't know a lot about rocket. NASA is not much into rockets right now, although they are building a moon rocket. SpaceX is also building a moon rocket, with that being said, but otherwise SpaceX is basically more like a service provider, like a vehicle company, just like Toyota, and Honda and those all company. So this is like a launch vehicle provider, and NASA is like a science provider. So it does basically the rover missions, the planetary missions, the exploration missions, and all those things. Okay. So it from Devonport. It great as always. Yes, I mean I haven't seen it in person in my lifetime till now. I would very much like to see a rocket launch from up close. That would be a very great feeling to have. All you have to do is to get a telescope and you should be able to see the launches. See, talking about the telescope, if you have the telescope also, then also I don't think so you will be able to see it properly, because telescopes are meant for space exploration and not for atmospheric exploration. I must say that the atmosphere interference will be so high that you won't be able to see it. Yes. Okay, let's just discuss about some things which you want to discuss. We still have some time, like the deployment actually happens. Okay, we will be having one more engine startup at around T plus 28 minutes, so like we have like 14 minutes or so we can discuss something if you want. My brother told me to come outside, Shogun says. I hope I am very, I would say you are very lucky that your brother said you to come outside and look at a rocket launch. That is so cool. Why are we coasting down the equator? That's a good question. Machine Magazine. Actually, this mission actually is meant for geostationary transfer orbit. So if you don't know what these orbits are, Leo, Meo, Geo, what these orbits are, Leo is nothing but the low Earth orbit, which is around 500 kilometers or so, 0 to 500 kilometers. Then we have the MEO, the medium Earth orbit, which expands further out, around 1500 kilometers or so. And then we have this geostationary orbit, geostationary or geosynchronous orbit, whatever you want to say, in which actually this orbit has this capability or this feature that whenever a satellite is placed into this orbit, it will face the Earth at that spot only. So most of the Earth observation satellites, the defense Earth observation satellite, which has to look at around a particular country always, then you place that satellite into a geosynchronous transfer orbit. And why this satellite is going there, because this also has to face US, has to provide services to US and nearby countries, so it has to be at a particular spot always 24/7. So yes, that is why they are having this satellite go into geosynchronous orbit. And now if you want to go from LEO to a geosynchronous orbit, there is one orbit which you need to go to, that is geosynchronous transfer orbit. Now, what is the difference between these two, geosynchronous orbit and geosynchronous transfer orbit? Geosynchronous orbit is basically more like a circular orbit, right? And GTO, geosynchronous transfer, is more like an elliptical orbit, highly elliptical orbit, in which the apoapsis ranges to around 20,000 kilometers, because today it is going to 20,000 kilometers. So if you tell me geo orbit will be a circular 20,000 kilometer, and GTO will be, I would say, 20,000 kilometers by 267 or 437, whatever we have as such. So yeah, that will be the case. Relative angular velocity of geosynchronous sat is 0. Exactly. Ohio, no, I don't think so. It was visible from Ohio. Why do rockets take off near water and always in Florida? First of all, the Florida launch site is chosen because of its water closeness, I would say that, because the rockets have to shed its parts, like right, and those the Falcon 9 is a bit of exception because it recovers the first stage. Otherwise, the Atlas 5, the Delta 4 Heavy, or any other rocket which is in operation right now, it sheds its parts, I would say. There is a first stage, then the second, third, fourth, and whatnot. So when it sheds its parts, or you can say when the parts separates or staging happens, that stage is actually not into an orbit, right? It is still in a suborbital trajectory, which means it will fall back down to the Earth. It's not gone to the orbit. The last stage, the upper stage, is the one usually which gets into the orbit. So yeah, that's why it needs ocean at least to splash down all those parts which are coming it at very high speed. So that is the case. Otherwise, why do we have near the Florida? Florida actually has these many islands nearby, and those islands actually, happens to be a great spot for rocket launch sites, because you can vacate that rocket launch site. That would be very far away from people. There won't be any problem if there is any explosion or so you can rely on that. That's why those sites are preferred. So that should answer your question. Calculating the booster flown out of 10 currently present in the inventory of SpaceX, how much Falcon 9 launches can SpaceX do by all booster inventory? Any number do you have? That's a good question. Although we just saw that Falcon 9 was able to land for the 10th time in a row. There was one booster that was able to do that, and now as the time progresses, as the booster gets old, it will be breaking the records only. That Falcon 9 booster which has flown for 10 times, I mean, those older boosters which customers don't have the confidence in, they will be used for mostly for Starlink satellites. I hope so. That should be the case. The SpaceX is so clever in this thing. They are not only just deploying the Starlink satellites to earn money, to earn revenue, they are also testing the capabilities of the Falcon 9, expanding its limits, as well as showing the world that yes, you can rely on this 8th used booster also for your launch. I mean, wow, this is so cool. A launcher which is capable of putting such a heavy payload to a low Earth orbit around 16 tons or so, $50 million cost is so less for this rocket. Because if you compare it with all other launchers in the world which is of similar capabilities, $250 million, that is the price which you need to pay, and here we are getting the same service for 50. So obviously payload, the customer prefer it, but again the SpaceX needs to have that availability of the launch to make that happen. So yeah, that is the case. If anything goes wrong, it is sure to have nice water around. Yes, we have seen actually the launch from Vandenberg, which is like not from the as such island, and we have seen that there was some fire also because of no water around. There was bushes and grass all over, and when the rocket lifted off, it created fire nearby. And yeah, now they mitigated by sprinkling water over all those bushes and all those things so that it does not catch fire. But yeah, that is a case. So the ideal place is always to launch from an island or so, to have when you have a water around. But if you can't have the water around, the next ideal place will be to launch from the the coastal area, wherever you want to head, because it enables for any mishap that happens during the ascent, any rocket parts that would go, that will actually land in the ocean. So yeah. Could constellation have worked except for politics? See, I'm not very fond of constellations as of now, whether it be from any orbit, I must say that, because I know we will be getting a great service when we have Starlink constellation. For example, let's take the Starlink constellation for example. We'll have a great service, but let me just tell you, the problem with constellation right now is that they are planning for, okay, we are good, we are having like 20,000 4,000 5,000 constellations of satellites. Okay, cool, but there is no as such plan for if something goes wrong, then what, right? They don't have that plan right now, and that actually worries me, because if something goes wrong, they don't have a debris removal plan, they don't have a debris management plan, because that would or you can say the collision management plan. How would they able to maneuver the satellite so fastly and track all those debris, which if something goes wrong, if satellite blast itself, or if two satellites collide? That is the thing which worries me, because now we know the Amazon is also pushing it for its constellation. OneWeb is already doing that. China is also going to have one constellation. We are building and putting more and more satellites, and we don't have a proper management there. If something goes wrong, then what? We don't have the proper answer for that. We are still in the research stage for debris removal and debris management kind of a thing. The scavengers are still not there, which take out the garbage. We don't have a garbage management right now in space. So yeah, constellations and all are great, I support them, but once if we don't have it for you get my point, right?
We had an on-time liftoff at 12:26 a.m. Eastern Time from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Stage 1 returned back to Earth and touched down on a drone ship. Just read the instructions, and this was the third flight and landing for this specific booster. Our second stage is still looking good on a nominal trajectory after its first burn, and now it's getting ready for
And
SES-2
Ulaj
in a few
happening.
seconds here. SES-2 is second engine start 2. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we do have 2 burns for this second stage in order to get the Sxm-8 satellite to its final orbit.
That was
And
the
we're just
RCS
about
thrusters
20 seconds
firing.
away from SES-2. That burn will last just about 35 seconds or so long and will be followed by SECO-2, or second engine cutoff 2.
Acha, Aries 5, okay. So this RCS thruster firing is very necessary because it enables this thing to happen. Wow, that was good thing.
Vac ignition.
It is raising the
And
apoaps
there you
right
can
now.
visually see on your screen that second stage ending back up.
Because those RCS actually provide a ullage to
And this is the second of 2
rocket motor.
burns. It'll last just about 30 or so seconds long.
Throttling down maybe. This rocket nozzle is very big, please remember that. The 9 Merlin engines are, you know,
And vac cutoff.
taken by just one this.
And there we
Merlin
have
engine.
confirmed SECO-2, or second engine cutoff 2. And we did get a good orbit. So we now have
Nominal
another
orbit
coast
insertion.
phase. We have another coast phase before we can deploy the Sxm-8 satellite from Falcon 9's second stage. So we'll see you back here around T minus 31 minutes. 3T plus 31 minutes.
Okay. So yes, that was it. Okay, so yeah, I was talking about those RCS firing just because before the ignition that actually, you know, acts as a ullage to the rocket engine, which provides necessary force in the forward direction so that whatever fuel is floating around in space, enjoying the space and, you know, just roaming around, can all come back to the bottom and then get ready for the ignition. So that's why we always see these thrusters firing just before the ignition. And okay, cool, we have a nominal insertion of the good orbit, and now we are just waiting for the deployment. And if you ask me why do we wait for the deployment, the answer would be that first of all, they need to do some checks also, right? They need to do some checks before they deploy it properly. And then there is one more reason, that the ground station is not in a particular configuration at that point of time, so that they are not able to get the signal when it deploys. So they want a confirmation at that time, hence they wait for some time. Now the rocket is, you know, the second stage is going towards the where you can see the sun, and that's why we are getting some beautiful sunrise images there. We have people from Canada, UK, Australia, India, and we're not. We can see the velocity, guys. Just see the velocity. It's around 33,000 kilometers per hour. This is wow. Thanks for joining in, man. We're just waiting for this deployment to happen. It will happen at around T plus 31 minutes or so, and then this mission will come to an end. Otherwise, if you are just joining in, guys, let me just tell you, that we have a proper insertion of this orbit for the deployment right now. And if you like my work, you can support me on Patreon. Link is in the description. Otherwise, you can just leave a like on this stream. I don't know what is the like right now situation right now, but it would be great if you can increase the like and as well as subscribe if you want to see more launches happening as well as some great videos upcoming.
Acquisition of signal, HBK.
People from Ireland too. So we have these people from all over the world watching the rocket launches. That feels so cool.
Welcome back once again to our broadcast for our SXM-8 mission. If you're just joining us, here's a quick recap of today's milestones. We had a successful liftoff from Space Launch Complex 40 at 12:26 a.m. Eastern Time. From there, we had a successful stage separation, recovered this first stage for the third time on our drone ship, just read the instructions, and have had 2 successful second stage MVAC engine startups. Now we are coming up on the deployment of SXM-8, Sirius Sxm's next generation satellite. Let's listen in for the call out for payload deploy coming up here in a few seconds.
I'm telling you, man, SXM is a tongue twister. Try to say it right now. It's a very good tongue twister.
Payload separation confirmed.
And we have a separation.
And there you
Hopefully
can see on your screen the
wow.
SXM-8 satellite drifting away from second stage, confirming payload deploy. What an
Looking
awesome
so
view
cool.
of the satellite drifting away. With a successful separation of the SXM-8 satellite from Falcon 9's second stage, that will bring our webcast coverage to a close. To the Range and Federal Aviation Administration, thank you for supporting today's mission. And of course, to all of our viewers, thank you for supporting our mission by tuning in to today's webcast. We'll see you next time.
It was around 267 kilometer machine magazine. Okay. Oh, there we have it. Okay, guys. That was pretty much about it, and we had a beautiful liftoff today. Just a sec. Okay. 33,000 kilometers an hour, 20,000 miles per hour. Thanks for converting it, but yes, that is pretty much about it. We had a beautiful liftoff. We had everything which we demanded for today. And talking about the satellite, let's hope that this one does not fail, because the previous satellite, the Sxm-7, was not, perform the orbital checks properly just after the deployment, which lead to $25 million loss. The satellite actually burned up in the atmosphere when it was not able to, although don't know it was a propulsion issue or was a communication issue, or was any other issue, because there was no confirmation from the company itself. But Sxm-7 was a failure, not because of the rocket but because of the satellite, some issue with the satellite. Let's hope they corrected it for this mission, the 8th mission, and now we should be having a good satellite in the orbit. Okay, I want to know about the launch. Ritik Ranjan says launch abort system in the Starship. They don't have as such, Ritik Ranjan, but I would say that if you want to learn about the launch abort system in Starship, you can see the Everyday Astronauts video. He has covered it very beautifully. 48-minute long video. That's actually not a bad thing for his channel. He delivers some movies, a 1 hour long movie, 48 minutes long movie, and you can watch it. You won't be feeling any bored as such. So yeah. right now the next launch coming up is an interesting one, because I don't know whether it will be streamed or not, but the next launch is from the Virgin Orbit, the Tubular Bells, which is right now scheduled for 13th of June. And we don't know yet whether we will be getting a live stream or not. If we will be getting a live stream, then I will be there for you. But a confirmed launch is for the Wallops facility, the NASA's Wallops facility in Virginia, and that will be the launch of the Minotaur 1. I actually didn't know about this rocket, this Minotaur 1 rocket as such, but now when it is nearby and I have started reading about it, this is a pretty good rocket. I would say that. Retired ICBMs being used here, and yes, it's a good rocket. We'll see. We'll talk about it whenever that launch happens. It's currently scheduled for 15th of June, and then we have one more interesting launch on 17th of June. The first crew to be sent on the China's space station, the Shenzhou 12 mission, is scheduled to happen on 17th of June. Although I would say that we don't know whether we will be having a live stream or not for this mission, because this mission is not from area which is very much populated. So let's see. If there is, I will be there for you. What's India's next launch? You guys are busy now in space. The next launch was supposed to happen in this June month only, but there's still no confirmation or any hinting whether it has been delayed or not. Yeah, it's like June 6th right now, and it was supposed to happen by, you can say, this month only. So let's see what is the confirmation, how the things will look like. Although right now it's like, yeah, after 15th of June there is one launch, GSAT-1 of GSLV Mark II. Let's hope that happens, because this has been delayed for so long now. Yes, Sean, there is no launch abort system and there is no plan as such. See, the launch abort system, I would rather say this thing. The launch abort system is a thing which you can think of not having also, because abort systems are not actually used properly. I mean, in every launch we don't use abort system. It's like very rarely that we use the abort systems, and that saves lives also. But at the same time, take the example of the shuttle. Yes, I know there was an issue with the shuttle also, and if there was an abort system in shuttle, then they would have the crew would have been saved. But I would say that there were like 137 launches, and there was only one mission which actually happened to be a failure during the ascent, right? And that was also because of the political issue or what, I don't remember. There was people saying to not launch on that day, and there was some hurry or whatnot, I don't remember, and then they launched and that happened. So I could say that if we can make something like shuttle, see, shuttle had this redundancy in its plates. So you have these two parameters when it comes to rocket making. You can increase the reliability or you can increase the redundancy. Shuttle operated on redundancy where they increased the redundancy and checked, double checked, triple checked all those of things on the ground. And Soyuz on the other hand relied on reliability, which means that it actually launched so many times that they know that there won't be any as such failure with it. So with shuttle they ensured that will not have any failure. With Soyuz they didn't ensure properly that it would have any failure or not. That's why they installed the abort system, and they worked more on reliability rather than redundancy. Shuttle worked on redundancy rather than reliability as such, because if you remember when it was the first launch of the shuttle happened, the crew was on the board. So there was no as such testing mission also. So yeah, that was the case. A shuttle, that was a very new concept at that time. You don't imagine the rockets to look like that, right? And that was a very new concept at that time, and they actually put humans on board on their first mission. That actually implies a great work which they did to ensure the crew safety. So yeah, talking about the Starship also will work on reliability. So Starship will work on the combination of two. The curve will look like more like a linear one, which will be like, you know, the reliability also as well as redundancy also. The Starship will work like that. So that's why they can, you know, have this abort system. They can just go away with it. Okay, talking about the abort system, if you have to have it necessary, the Starship can lift off, the upper stage can lift off on the pad if something goes wrong in the during the ascent. Also, if it is able to shut down the engines of the Super Heavy, then also it will be able to separate, although we don't know how long will it be able to sustain the flight, because there will be just oceans and oceans out there, and we don't have parachutes to have a successful splashdown in the oceans when it comes to other launches. So we'll have to see how things progress, but right now we have seen that the Starship development as such is put on a hold. We are not seeing any other Starship launches as such, because obviously they are studying the SN-15 which just survived, and whatever data they receive from that, then they will be improving their further prototypes. And since they have nailed it the first time, then they should not be having as such problem with the other prototypes. Let's hope that is the case. And as Elon Musk has confirmed, we should be able to see the another launch, the orbital launch, as early as July. But again, I would not say it is an orbital launch, so more like a suborbital one. But again, that would demonstrate the orbital capabilities. I would say that the orbital capabilities of the Starship. So if you want to consider it as orbital, you can say that, but by definition it is not orbital. So yeah, when Starlink is delivered to the moon, would the second stage have to bigger to fly further? I don't think so. There will be a Starlink delivered to the moon. I mean, to have a live stream coverage from the moon. The NASA is working for the TDRS satellites, the data relay satellites, and that to a laser one. So they are upgrading their data relay satellites for a newer capability, so that they can stream some high definition images back to the Earth from the lunar surface. Imagine that. Imagine this thing, guys. There's those Artemis astronauts on the surface of the moon, and they will be actually be giving some great shots with the high definition cameras which we have. If you don't know, guys, NASA has this mission requirements listed as mission requirements, that you have to take the best and the most advanced cameras that are available on Earth with the astronauts, so that we can get some really good images from the moon lunar surface. If you remember, in 1960s they were able to revert back those color images from the surface of the moon. So yes, you can't you can't say that this won't be happening this time also. It's not like they'll be taking just phones and recording it from the phone. They will be taking proper high definition 4K cameras, and let's hope that we get 4K stream also from the lunar surface. Imagine that, a 4K stream coming in from the lunar surface. Wow. By then they will probably be using the Starship. Exactly. If there is a constellation right now, obviously privatization of the lunar orbit is not the thing right now. But if Starlink is successful on lunar orbit, yes, they will be expanding the capabilities to the lunar orbit also. So yeah, that is the case. But I think they will still be relying on the data relay satellite. So they will be they actually need to make a constellation as well as a proper network. They just can't rely on constellation because they will be needing some relay satellites also. So yeah, so I think with that we can end the stream right now if you don't have any other thing to discuss. As always, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. It was a great day, a great morning with you all, and we will hope to see you again on 13th of June as such. But we can't say anything about the Chinese launches, you know, that happens. Like we get the information around one day or a 1 week before the launch. But right now, as of now, we don't have any other launch till 13th of June, which means that I would get some time to make the things which are happening. I am on the verge of finishing the Discord server. That is one thing that should be live soon. And the other thing is I am thinking of starting the memberships also on this channel. I think it's the right time now, and let's see how things go. So if you will purchase the membership, you will get some exclusive perks and emojis and all those things. So and obviously it will support the channel. So with that, I think we can do you think we'll ever fly SN16? It's not SN16, SN15 which survived the flight, but right now they won't be flying it because it has gone back to the hangar right now. So yeah, the Raptor for the length of an orbital flight, not sure. I only know that they have tested the Raptor for the length of an orbital flight. Okay. We don't know about the testing. See, they must have tested the Raptor for their orbital flight. I mean, the duration, the firing, the duration must have happened. But when the rocket, the Raptors are on the rocket, then things are totally different. When it is on the test stand, then things are totally different. So we'll have to see how things progress. Still, guys, just imagine. I don't want that to happen, but with the crew on board, but just imagine the first flight of Starship, right? And there's some issue with the Starship, and now it's such a huge launch vehicle with the super heavy and Starship attached, and that time some issue happened and they had to activate the flight termination system. Imagine the show in the sky. That would be pretty epic. I don't want any explosions or any RUDs happening when it's in operational. But when it is in testing, we can expect some RUDs, some explosions, and that would be a treat for us also. So yeah. So I think we can end the stream now, and thank you so much all the mods, Labrat, John Wilson, and all the mods who moderated the chat. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. And with that, we can end the stream. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. It was a great stream, and we will meet with another stream of another launch vehicle, and that too should be a airplane one this time. Let's hope Virgin Orbit provides a stream and I should be able to stream that. So with that, I'm ending the stream. So until then, this is Pian Shiroila. You just saw Rocket Gyan. Stay safe, stay healthy, and